You also get a mouthwash
what up,
that
guys?
you want to use the day
Mr.
after
Flo
surgery is
Biz.
completed. You swish with the
Hold on a
mouthwash for
sec.
2 minutes twice a day, and that should be sufficient.
What up, guys? We're live. It's your boy Flo Biz. You guys already know, man. We're watching videos called video surfing. We just watch videos that are cool and documentaries, things that people find interesting that we never get to watch. So that's what we do when we video surf. We watch cool videos and then we commentary on them later. So let's find some dope videos. And not about MK Ultra. So I was looking up last night. I was looking up El Mencho. People seem to like the El Mencho videos, so I might have to break one down after, break one of these down. This guy actually breaks down videos pretty well. This guy's actually a good interviewer. But yeah, they found his girl. Wow. Okay, so this guy's pretty funny.
Meet the man who ran one of the most violent cartels in modern history, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, aka El Mencho. You see, El Mencho wasn't no ordinary cartel boss. Let me put it to you like this. His group, the CJNG, was worth $50 billion. You know how much crime you gotta do to make $50 billion? So the United States and Mexico had a problem. They got together, they said, El Mencho doing too much.
Yeah.
United States said, so Mexico, let us know what he be doing down there. Mexico said, well, for starters, he be selling that stuff. The United States said, well, of course, where he be coming to Texas, California, Mexico said, no, he be selling all over the world. He be in Africa, he be in China, he worldwide with it. The United States said, $50 billion. Yeah, that makes sense. Mexico said, yeah, and don't get mad. But he also be stealing oil. The United States said, what y'all need, the CIA, the FBI, we got to put aside our differences. The United States and Mexico locked in. But CIA, this CIA, that El Mencho was not going to be easy to capture.
No, that fool was hard to capture. That's real. He the only reason he died is because he got shot with two bullets, two flying bullets that were just flying. I don't know. They just seemed to hit him. He should have been on the fucking ground. If I was him, I would have been on the ground. But he was so arrogant, bro. He just felt invisible, bro. So he's just standing there, walking around while his crew is out there fighting with the police. And so that's why he got shot, bro. It's karma, dude. It's clear karma.
You're not listening. I said $50 billion. This man basically had his own private military. They even got their names on their uniform. They weren't hiding about it. I gotta blur out half this picture. That man had an RPG. Oh, and they weren't afraid to use their too. In fact, that's what makes it so tough to take out cartel bosses, because of retaliation. It's basically the threat of, you mess with us, we're burning it all down. But that does not mean Mexico has not been trying. They've been trying for many, many years to capture El Mencho. But every time Mexico ups it, El Mencho doubles it. They sent the police after El Mencho. They caught one of his people. El Mencho said, okay, then we're going to catch the police. So El Mencho's group, the CJNG, were blocking roads and police officers. The Mexican government said, okay, so we're going to send the army. El Mencho said, bet, I'm going to send the army too. It's just going to be my army. El Mencho started rocket launching army helicopters out the sky. The United States said, damn, how about we try this our way? You see, if there's one thing you got to know about the United States, is it prides itself in gathering intelligence. And what that looks like a lot of times is finding out a target's weakness. In El Mencho's case, it was a woman. Now, people aren't exactly sure if it's this woman, but you get the point. So the United States CIA said, look, he got a girl, let's follow her around. And here's where things start to get wicked. They start following her around. She go to the store, they go to the store. She go to the laundromat, they go to the laundromat. She go and visit El Mencho.
When I wore this bracelet, my friends literally laughed at me. But when I manifested a new car, a new home, and a boat, they stopped laughing. And when you find out what the bracelet...
They go and visit El Mencho. And now it's time for our story break. Look, if you're dealing with random banking, dollars advance on banking, check advance, fee-free overdraft, where is there? So they gather up the whole crew, they gather up the army, they gather up the police force, and they start rolling deep. It was off to Tapalpa, but the roads started getting blocked and all that. They said, we getting close. More roads blocked by burning cars. The CJNG was trying to slow down the Mexican forces. But not this time. The Mexican forces blitzed through and found El Mencho in a compound with his army. And a firefight ensued. It was like a scene out of a movie. Explosions, RPGs going off, army versus army. Eventually, when the dust settled, the Mexican army took El Mencho into custody, but he had a lot of injuries. And as they were trying to transfer him, he got from his injuries. And well, as the Mexican government feared, the CJNG said, well, you mess with us, we're burning it down. So the CJNG went on a spree of burning down cars, blocking roads, just causing chaos in Mexico. 25 Mexican National Guard members were. Yeah, the retaliation was real. But Mexico, as always, continues to stand strong and is putting up a hard fight against cartels. As for El Mencho's legacy, the CJNG, his cartel group, people are worried about the power vacuum that has now arisen since El Mencho was. People have no idea who's going to take over where. El Mencho's son, who would have been a favorite to take over, is actually in custody by the United States. The Mexican government captured him a few years back and sent him to the U.S. So that leaves El Mencho's inner circle and close family. People are worried that a couple people are going to go at it because remember, $50 billion is what El Mencho's group was worth. When you're talking about $50 billion, yeah, people are going to be very desperate to try to lead that organization. I want you to take a look at this map. It shows how much influence El Mencho's group, the CJNG, had. Let me show you a quick, easy way to read this map. You see this little gray space right here? That's the only part of Mexico that the CJNG didn't have influence over. Everywhere else in this map basically means their territory. And remember, their influence is also worldwide. Africa, China. I saw a shirt that said CJNG for Africa. Like their organization was an organization. They made t-shirts. You see, really what I'm trying to have you understand is somebody's going to want to take over that group. And if there's a war within the CJNG to take over that group, it can get really, really violent. Remember, they have military arms. But there's something else that made the CJNG dangerous. It's the fact that El Mencho was a centralized leader. El Mencho basically held all of the power in his cartel, and that could be a very dangerous thing. Basically, it's kind of like this. A lot of people may know the name El Chapo, who is the leader of the Sinaloa cartel. In El Chapo's case, in the Sinaloa cartel, it was like a federation. There were so many powerful families under the Sinaloa cartel. When El Chapo was taken down, the Sinaloa cartel basically split into these different families. You see, under a federation, if things split, things can split. It's like if the United States, for some reason, decides to split into 50 states, everyone will just go their own way. But in El Mencho's case, he was basically like the king of his cartel. That means winner takes all. Whoever leads that cartel has everything. There ain't no powerful factions. The king rules the country, the king rules the country. It don't split. But to make matters worse, let's say for some reason, even if El Mencho's group, the CJNG, disappears, that's going to leave a power vacuum in itself. So other cartel groups that are still in Mexico are going to want that number one spot as well. So much money is made with people selling that stuff. It always seems like there is a group that pops in every few years that takes over the entire landscape. Basically, as long as there's a massive amount of money to be made, there's always going to be somebody out there that wants to make that money. So it's just a very, very tough situation when it comes to cartels and Mexico. So people are keeping a very close eye on the CJNG and seeing how the power divides amongst them. But either way, I hope the best for the citizens of Mexico and hope this.
Yes. Look, the whole thing over there in Mexico has been going on for eons. You know, the president before Sheinbaum was Obrador, and he was a straight scumbag. And then the guy before him, Peña Nieto, was probably one of the best presidents that you know Mexico has had, and he was also involved in corruption, and so was President Fox before him, and then the corruption, and I can go on, dude, with the presidents and the corruption on in Mexico. So this is nothing new. I think the citizens are just getting tired of it. You know, all the killings and innocent murders of the citizens out there, and then having to pay a certain amount of rent. If you have a business, these guys come up to you, or the mafia in Mexico now is also getting involved. So there's a Mexican mafia and the cartel that they're dealing with. So a lot of people are getting killed over there in Mexico for no reason. And so it's just people don't even go outside in certain places. And it's ridiculous, really, that the cartel, you know, does this to innocent people, but they don't care. They're ruthless, like I said. they're worse than MS-13. You know, they're right there. They're both right there together with raping and killing and murdering and all the disgusting things that they do. It's pretty unbelievable, man. I'm just glad that they caught El Mencho. You see the reaction, but there's always another guy in line, dude. There's always another guy in line that's next. You know, it's always his son, or the son's in jail now already. They caught his son first, so he's doing life plus 30 years. That's not something that I would want to be facing, guys. I'd be shitting my pants if I was facing that much time. But yeah, let's see if we can find something. Let's see, Sinaloa. No, you don't want that. That's more. That's been happening for a while. These kind of videos right here, the takedown. Oh, I think we watched the takedown of him. We can watch it again though. We'll watch it right now, the takedown. So I'll watch how he got taken down.
Can you be a travel advisor without quitting your 9 to 5? Actually, yes. We're Fora, the modern travel agency.
February 22nd, 2026. Early morning, Mexico, Jalisco Highlands, Tapalpa District. Helicopters above the tree line. Armored vehicles sealing every road.
His name Jalisco, and that's where he was caught, obviously. So let's get it cracked. Yeah, let's put it on here. Let's get it.
Special forces moving uphill through fog, weapons drawn. Behind a stone compound, the man the United States valued at $15 million. 40 seconds from now, the first shots. Right now, silence.
Radio confirms. Target on site.
The order comes. Automatic gunfire. Heavy weapons tearing through stone. Return fire from inside. Then, a body on a stretcher.
Target neutralized.
The most wanted man in Mexico is dying. He used to be a cop, a local police officer in Jalisco. Then he switched sides, built one of the most violent cartels in modern Mexican history, left victims hanging from bridges as public warnings, set cities on fire, attacked the army with rocket launchers, flooded America with fentanyl. They put $15 million on his head. Sent soldiers for years, never got him. Every raid, he was already gone, until this afternoon. This time, nobody warned him. His name was Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho. His death would not end anything. The war for his empire was about to begin before his body reached Mexico City.
So I always catch these videos, dude. Make sure that they're good, and if they're not, I'm right here to fucking pop the video out. Guess what? I'm not gonna watch any crap.
How does a police officer become the...
Watch this garbage fucking cartoon. Okay, hold on. My freaking computer's acting stupid. Oh man, show the cop who built it on. We want to see some dope shit. Cartel crushed. Mexican government destroy the drug cartels. Maybe he betrayed his cartel, you know. Okay, this is about. Let's see. I want to see one about El Mencho. Inside the narco lifestyle of El Mencho steps on. See, this is the guy they arrested first, dude. That sucked. Yeah, man. His girl snitched on him too. Let's see.
2 days ago, Mexico's most wanted drug lord was killed. El Mencho.
Mexico's most powerful drug kingpin was killed during a military operation.
El Mencho, the leader of the new Jalisco New Generation cartel, died after being captured by Mexican special forces on Sunday.
Violence has erupted across Mexico following the killing of the country's most wanted drug leader, known as El Mencho.
Leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, died in a shootout with the Mexican military. But the CJNG didn't fall apart. Instead, they put an American citizen in charge. Born in Orange County, California, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez just became the new leader of the world's deadliest cartel. And what I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. This man has more cartel DNA than anyone alive, commands a private army with rocket launchers, and just inherited a $50 billion criminal empire.
Here's a crazy statistic. 77% of adults are not enrolled in school because they have to work. For most people, life is busy enough with work, family, bills, and everything in between. This is why we need schools like National University. NU is a not-for-profit accredited university. Get this, for people who need to balance work, family, and school. Classes are online in 4 and 8 week courses, and when it comes to supporting you as a student, they are one of the best. They provide free mental health counseling through Timely Care and a student wellness center with one-on-one support. Look, it's a new year and NU is offering the Year of You scholarship. You can get up to $6,000 a year towards your bachelor's or master's degree. Click the button below to find out if NU is the school for you. Peace.
I was born here in Arizona. I was raised in
is his story. Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez was already the de facto second in command of the CJNG. But here's what really went down. The succession didn't just happen overnight. It was orchestrated like a corporate takeover. El Mencho's biological son got life in prison plus a $6 billion fine. His daughters are wanted fugitives who can't show their faces. So the empire fell to the stepson, and intelligence agencies say he's more dangerous than his stepfather ever was. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. This new cartel king was born in Santa Ana, California, making him an American citizen by birth. We're talking about a dude who could have lived the California dream, instead choosing to become Mexico's most wanted man. To understand how this happened, we got to go back to 1984 and unpack the most insane family tree in criminal history. Let's rewind to September 12th, 1984, Santa Ana, California, Orange County. This is where millionaires live, where tech bros buy $2 million condos, where the biggest crime is usually tax evasion. But on this day, a baby was born who would grow up to command the most feared criminal organization in the Western Hemisphere. Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez entered the world with 3 strikes against him, or depending on how you look at it, 3 royal bloodlines flowing through his veins. His biological father wasn't some random dude trying to make it in America. This was Armando Valencia Cornelio, alias El Maradona, or El Juanito, the founder of the Milenio Cartel. Now let me break down what that means. The Milenio Cartel wasn't some small-time operation. This organization started in the 1970s and became the foundation for what we know today as the CJNG. Armando Valencia Cornelio built an empire that would eventually spawn Mexico's most powerful criminal syndicate. So Juan Carlos wasn't just born into crime, he was born into cartel royalty. But that's just the beginning of this crazy family tree. His mother, Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, wasn't just El Maradona's woman. She was the sister of Los Cuinas leaders, the financial and operational masterminds behind what would become the CJNG's money laundering empire. Los Cuinas weren't just washing drug money. They were the architects of a multi-billion-dollar financial network that could move cash across continents without leaving a trace. Here's where the story gets even wilder. When Juan Carlos was just 2 years old, barely walking, still in diapers, his mother met a man who would change everything. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho. This wasn't love at first sight. This was a strategic alliance between criminal dynasties. By 1996, when Juan Carlos was 12 years old and probably worried about middle school homework, El Mencho married his mother. Officially, Juan Carlos became the stepson of the man who would build the CJNG into a $50 billion criminal empire. But unofficially, he became the heir to not 1, not 2, but 3 different cartel legacies. Think about this for a second. His biological father founded the Milenio Cartel. His mother's family controlled Los Cuinas financial network. His stepfather created the CJNG. Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez had more cartel DNA than anyone alive. This kid didn't just inherit criminal connections, he inherited the blueprints for building criminal empires. Growing up in California with dual citizenship, Juan Carlos had every opportunity to walk away from this life. He could have gone to USC, become a tech entrepreneur, lived the American dream. Instead, he chose the family business, and that choice would eventually make him the most wanted American citizen in the world. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Most cartel kids grow up in poverty, seeing crime as their only way out. Juan Carlos grew up in Orange County with American citizenship and every advantage life could offer. His choice to enter the narco world wasn't about survival, it was about power. According to US intelligence reports, Juan Carlos started making serious moves in his 20s. While his American peers were getting college degrees and entry-level jobs, he was learning the drug trade from masters of the craft. By his 30s, the US Department of State had identified him as the de facto second in command within the CJNG. But that title doesn't capture what he really was. He was the bridge between three criminal dynasties. The DEA investigation revealed something that should terrify anyone who understands organized crime. Juan Carlos wasn't just moving drugs. He was responsible for manufacturing, transporting, and distributing tons of cocaine and methamphetamine into the United States. We're not talking about street-level dealing. This man was orchestrating industrial-scale drug operations that flooded American cities with narcotics. But drugs were just the beginning. In 2019,
I watched my mom go on dialysis 6 months after the doctor said that everything was fine. I will not be letting that happen to me. Dialysis.
when Juan Carlos was 35, he did something that changed the entire landscape of Mexican organized crime. He founded Grupo Elite. And this wasn't just another crew of sicarios. According to Mexican military intelligence, this was a paramilitary force capable of deploying rocket launchers and conducting high-impact operations against government forces.
February 22nd, 2026. Early morning, Mexico, Jalisco Highlands, Tapalpa District. Helicopters above the tree line. Armored vehicles sealing every road. Special forces moving uphill through fog, weapons drawn. Behind a stone compound, the man the United States valued at $15 million. 40 seconds from now, the first shots. Right now, silence.
Radio confirms. Target on site.
The order comes. Automatic gunfire. Heavy weapons tearing through stone. Return fire from inside. Then, a body on a stretcher.
Target neutralized.
The most wanted man in Mexico is dying. He used to be a cop, a local police officer in Jalisco. Then he switched sides, built one of the most violent cartels in modern Mexican history, left victims hanging from bridges as public warnings, set cities on fire, attacked the army with rocket launchers, flooded America with fentanyl. They put $15 million on his head. Sent soldiers for years, never got him. Every raid, he was already gone, until this afternoon. This time, nobody warned him. His name was Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho. His death would not end anything. The war for his empire was about to begin before his body reached Mexico City. How does a police officer become the most hunted man on 2 continents? It starts with a uniform and a list of names he was never supposed to keep. Jalisco, Mexico, 1993. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes joins the local police. It's not a career, it's an education. He sees which officers sell information to cartels, which commanders get paid to delay raids, which roads stay open because someone up the chain needs them open. He quits. Weeks later, he's inside the Milenio Cartel, a trafficking operation moving cocaine and methamphetamine through western Mexico. Lowest level, guarding shipments, running plazas where a wrong decision gets you killed by your own side. His police background.
Weeping. Hang on, we're gonna find something better, guys. I need something good, you know? Let's see, big mistake. Oh, why was it a big mistake though? We were watching this.
The Mexican army killed the most.
Let's Let's watch this. He was talking about last night how it's a
If you
mistake.
have credit card debt,
I didn't get to hear
you
that
have
part.
to
So
read
let's-
this
let's listen
article.
to how it was
Elon
a
Musk
mistake. I want to
expresses
see what
deep
he said.
concerns that consumer
How was
credit
this a
card
mistake?
Being told to stay out of Mexico, nobody's going to travel there for the foreseeable future. Local security forces may face revenge attacks and intensified ambushes. What we know about the cartel and what to expect. High militarized cartels with paramilitary style units. Remember, this is like military. They have a lot of equipment. They have firepower. They're armored vehicles, heavy weaponry capable of confronting state forces directly. They can fight the government. The mafia in the U.S. can't, and the mafia in Italy really can't. We don't have that paramilitary type of equipment. Not in Italy, not in America. We'll get into that more. More decentralized than older cartels, built on regional cells and semi-autonomous franchises that pledge loyalty but cooperate independently. So what they're saying is maybe now there's going to be a lot of little gangs that are going to take over or operate independently without answering to one of the major cartels. I don't know if that'll be allowed to happen. It's like the mafia allowing little gangs to operate in their territory. They're not going to allow that. It's why we wouldn't allow bookmakers to work without working with us or for us. No, you're in our territory, you're going to work with us. And I think that's what will happen here. Known for rapid public retaliation when leadership figures are targeted, designed to punish the state and signal strength. Short-term reaction, continued roadblocks and vehicle arsons on key highways, especially in western Mexico. Possible attacks on police stations. This is what you can expect. Military patrols and government buildings in CJNG heavy regions. The use of narcomantis or banners, social media videos, and rumors to shape perceptions and intimidate rivals and communities. A lot of stuff is going to happen in the aftermath of this, no question. Elevated risk to civilians who ignore cartel curfews or attempt to pass through blocked roads. Got to be careful here. The civilians got to be put on notice, and they know this. They don't mess with the cartels. Succession and internal dynamics. Well, there's no obvious successor from the immediate family since many of them are already apprehended or in trouble. Key relatives are imprisoned in the U.S., limiting a dynastic handover. Multiple regional plaza bosses and commanders may compete to control CJNJ's remaining assets, meaning that this cartel is not going to fall apart. Somebody's going to take power. Somebody's going to take control. Will the Sinaloa cartel move in and take over? That'll be a war. Who knows? Will local gangs move in and try to take over? Who knows? We said the family is depleted. It can't be really family members of El Mencho. So who knows what's going to happen? That's where we have to see what's going to go on in the next couple of weeks. A powerful internal figure consolidates control and recenters CJNJ around new leadership. If there is somebody powerful and respected enough to do that, that person may emerge. CJNJ fragments into rival factions. Like I said, Sinaloa can take it over, maybe local gangs, some rebranding or allying with competing cartels. Or a loose federation survives with the CJNJ name used by semi-independent groups. Long-term expectations. Drug flows are unlikely to stop. It's not going to stop the flow of drugs. No way. When you have these sanctuary cities like California, you know, thank God now we have a closed border. Drugs aren't coming in the way they were before. Thanks to President Trump. You can hate him, whatever, at least be honest about it. We don't need drugs flowing into this country, and he closed the border. Something Biden couldn't do, didn't want to do. As a matter of fact, he did just the opposite. We don't have to be redundant. The geographic map of control may shift as territories change hands, altering local power structures and violence patterns. From my notes, Mexican authorities may further militarize certain regions to prevent spiraling violence, at least temporarily. All right, so these are the things that could happen now. It's a wait and see thing. Let's see what happens. Who's going to move in to try to take over, CJNG? How is CJNJ going to retaliate against Mexican authorities to show, hey, we're not going away. You don't do this to us. Who knows what they're going to do? This is what we're going to find out in the next couple of days, weeks, months. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, there is a travel ban. I don't know if it's a ban. It's an advisory that we shouldn't be traveling to Mexico. That's all I know. Hopefully that's lifted and things change fairly soon. What's the difference between, the cartels in Mexico and the mafia?
I've been saying this, and I always get, oh, Michael, stop. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people on the internet who read the media, read social media, read the newspaper, and they think they become the authority on the mafia, okay? I grew up in it. My father was a powerful figure. He was the underboss of the Colombo family. My father was one of the most investigated members of that life ever. I'm familiar with it since I'm 3 years old. And then I was in the life for over 20 years myself. I know everything that I could know about that life, about what we did, what we didn't do during my era, and even before. But people want to tell me, oh, Michael, you're wrong, this and that and that. Really? Where did you learn that? From the media? From social media? Do you believe 90% of what you read on, what you see on social media? So much of it is nonsense, especially about my former life. There's guys mouthing off there, saying things, I don't know what the hell they're talking about in plain English. So if you're commenting to me, please don't try to tell me about the life that I lived and knew and grew up in. Anyway, major difference. We were not, during my time, major drug dealers. And to my knowledge, going back to the days of Al Capone and Masseria and Maranzano and Luciano, we were not the major drug dealers. We were not. End of story. Did we deal with drugs? Yes. No question. Everybody brings up Vito Genovese. I know. Yes, he was a drug dealer. Was the whole mafia dealing with drugs? No. Were we anywhere near as powerful in the drug business as the cartels? No. Did we have the same military might in the United States that the cartels have in Mexico? Absolutely not. And during my era, and my era was from the mid-50s, I would say. And when I say my era, my dad. And I know, my dad talked to me. My dad hated anything to do with drugs. And he told me time and time again, we do not deal with drugs from when I was a kid. And during my era in that life, we were not allowed to deal with drugs. We were told straight out, if you deal with drugs, you die. Now, were some guys doing it on the sneak? Yes. Some guys were visiting gay bars on the sneak. Okay. Were we allowed to do it? No. We were not supposed to be doing it. And for those of you that contradict you with we're drug dealers, no. Remember, Paul Castellano was going after John Gotti and his crew. Why? Because he heard they were dealing drugs. And it was his excuse to eliminate them because he didn't like John anyway. And John retaliated by killing him first. So, but that was the whole reason, because his crew was dealing with drugs, according to Castellano. So stop contradicting yourself. We were not, those of you that say differently, we were not major drug dealers. Some guys were doing it on the sneak. I knew a guy very close to me, a soldier of mine, that blew his brains out in a phone booth. Tony Orgello, Tony the Gawk, we called him. Because he was afraid. He got involved in a minor drug deal, and he was afraid we were going to walk him in the room and take his life. So please don't tell me, when I'm telling you we were not major drug dealers during our era. We were not major drug dealers, period. Now, in Italy, I'm talking about the United States. Now, in Italy, different. Yes, they were heroin dealers. No question about it. No question. That was not the United States. And don't cite the pizza connection for me, because those guys came from Italy and they were pushing drugs through pizza stores. It wasn't us, and we were not supposed to be involved with them. Again, my era. So please don't tell me what I know and what I experienced and what I lived. I hope we got that clear. Drug cartels, they operate differently. One guy emerges. It's not, you don't take a blood oath or any of that stuff. You don't do that. We were an organized syndicate. The cartels are different. The cartels were built, okay, based upon extremely lucrative drug deals. They made billions of dollars, no question about it. And as a result, they wanted to fight the Mexican government. So what did they do? They made themselves strong. They're a paramilitary group. No, they could fight the Mexican government. They may ultimately lose, but they could put up a fight. We can't do that. We could never do that here in the United States. The mafia wasn't built for that. No way. And if one of our leaders were taken out by the FBI, if John Gotti or Paul Castellano or anybody was taken out, or Joe Colombo, who I believe was taken out by the FBI in a plot designed by the FBI, we didn't retaliate against the government. We didn't start shooting up the neighborhoods. We didn't close down businesses. That's not who we were. It's not who the mafia is in America. Totally different than the cartels. We're not even in the same conversation with respect to drugs and the ability that the cartels had, the strength that the cartels had within the country of Mexico. And when I say the strength, I mean military, firepower. We didn't have any of that. And let me tell you, the drug cartels, they will kill. They don't have the value of human life. I'm sorry. They'll make examples. They'll hang people. They'll slaughter people. They'll murder people. We didn't do that. We didn't go into neighborhoods and kill people to make a point. We didn't take over cities. We had our neighborhoods. We protected our neighborhoods. It was totally different organization and operation. In Italy, a little bit different, but Italy doesn't have the firepower that the cartels have. They lock up mafia guys. They weaken the mafia quite a bit in some places. The cartels are strong as ever, strong as ever. The Mexican government doesn't even want to mess with them at times. The United States is pushing them now. So there is a very distinct difference between the mafia and the drug cartels in Mexico. Very, very distinct difference. We operated differently. We had a certain code. You know the deal. I don't have to break down the mafia. Many of you watching, you understand. So please, when it comes to that, don't even make the comparison because it's not valid at all. Now, the cartels were not strong here in the United States. They were bringing the drugs in, but they weren't strong here in the United States. And had they challenged us here within, they couldn't do what they're doing in Mexico in the United States. That would never happen. They couldn't do it. Our government would never allow it. They'd never be able to have that firepower. We, as the mafia, would never be able to have that kind of power. The government here would never allow it. So there's no comparison in that. All right, so let me sum this up. You know, the cartels operate like a paramilitary group. They want you to know, they want the Mexican government to know, we have firepower, we have authority, and we will do whatever it takes to maintain control of our business, period. You're not going to stop us. And we have no problem fighting you. We have no problem killing you. We'll come after you. We'll do what's necessary to show you, okay, that we can compete. You're not going to destroy our business. Mafia, we didn't do that. We operated, we tried to operate in the shadows. We were a lot more subtle with the control that we had. We infiltrated unions. We did things like that, okay? There's no comparison between the cartels and the mafia. Even in the structure, it was just totally different. In the cartels, yeah, there was a lot of nepotism. We had that too here in the mafia. But the power structure in the mafia didn't allow for family members to just move into certain positions. Didn't allow for that. Where in the cartels, it does allow for that. I think if El Menchito were out and not in prison, he would probably be the one to take over, you know, his father's spot. It doesn't always happen like that. As a matter of fact, it rarely happens like that in the United States. So let's understand that two entirely different organizations that operate entirely differently. The drug business is the cartel's main business. They make billions, not us. We did things differently, not the mafia. So, look, let's get back to, you know, what's going on there. And let's hope. We don't know what's going to happen in the weeks ahead. You know, who knows? I don't think it's going to end. I don't think it was just showing yesterday and that's the end of it. I think we have to be on watch. I hate to tell people to be afraid to travel to Mexico. I don't want to do that. You know, let's wait and see because it's a beautiful place and I want to go back to Puerto Vallarta. I know my friends want to go back there. So, you know, let's see what happens. But I'll try to keep you up to date. If I hear something, if I got any inside information, because we do have some, you know, friends that live there and they've been giving us some feedback, we'll let you know. But until now, just beware, be on your guard. If you're going to travel there, just be careful, know where you're going, and be prepared. That's it for today, my friends. How do I leave you? Same way, never going to change. Be safe. What can I tell you? You know, I tell you, people, we live in a dangerous world, man. Every single day we open up the newspaper, we look online, and we're seeing some other tragedy. So we live in a dangerous world. I gotta tell you, not in Dubai. They're pretty safe there. Please don't, Sharia law. No. And by the way, in Dubai, it's not totally operated by Sharia law. The Sharia law mostly applies to the Muslims. There is a combination, kind of a hybrid law, from the French government and some European governments that operate outside of Sharia law in Dubai. So don't go there, you're going to get your hands chopped off. No, you're not. That's not true. I know, lived there, friends that I visited there, I spent a lot of time, I got a lot of friends that lived there. So, I like to say things as they are. Sometimes we have preconceived notions because of what we hear. All right? We want to go to places that are safe. Bottom line, and with all this immigration stuff that's been going on, open borders everywhere, you got to tell it like it is. It's just not safe. The wrong people come into the country unvetted and they wreak havoc. It's happening in Europe. It happened here in the United States. Just this morning, the president was given a Medal of Honor to the families of the women that were then murdered by illegal criminal migrants that came over the border. If you don't have a closed border, you don't have a country. The bottom line, you don't have borders then. You don't have a country, and it belongs to anybody.
Kay Hovnanian's Four Seasons at Victory at Verrado is an active lifestyle community of new homes in Buckeye, Arizona. Indulge in amenities including a clubhouse, pool, fitness center, and more. Choose from 5 unique floor plans complete with modern finishes and layouts. Enjoy the walkable, small-town charm of Verrado while still being a few miles east of Glendale in downtown Phoenix. Find your new home at Kay Hovnanian's Four Seasons at Victory at Verrado today.
It's about to heat up.
Watch the B&P Paribas Open. All courts, all matches, live and full replays. Live March 4th through the 15th on Tennis Channel and the Tennis Channel app.
So, look, all I can tell you is people, be safe, be healthy. I'm really encouraged that so many more people, at least in my circle, and even what I see online, are talking about their health, about preserving their health, about eating the right foods. I got to be honest, a couple of months, maybe a little more.
Yeah, that's real, actually. I've been not dieting, but I actually changed my whole diet to a lot of protein. And what the hell just happened? Okay, a lot of protein, and I got on Reddit TrueTide, so we're gonna see what happens here with the Reddit TrueTide. I'm always working out every day, eating well, eating clean, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I just shot some videos, so I'm gonna check them out. I'll catch you guys later. I love y'all. Peace.